Everybody got a podcast. Everybody is a critic, but nobody will admit it. Everybody going live now. Everybody want it right now. Click the link up in the bio. Everybody got a new line. Everybody is offended. Give a fuck in your opinion. Everybody got a...
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Guys?
How you doing? I see that you're 6'6" nowadays.
Yeah, I got this extra to do. It's fucking hanging out. I mean, your beard is like if it was just on top. So,
Yeah, we'd have to dye it. We'd have to do a little manic panic
It's
to his beard.
true. There's so much
Manic
gray
panic.
going on. Dude, I'm telling you,
yeah, man,
as soon as I had a daughter, gray. Immediately.
That'll do it, man. How old's your daughter?
She's 10.
Oh man,
Wow.
she's like a fully
dude.
formed. Well, not fully formed, but she's like a human being.
Yeah,
With
she's like a
personality.
homunculus. Yeah, she's like a homunculus. You know.
She's not.
Wait, what's a homunculus?
It's a
It's like-
D&D term for a miniaturized human being, basically.
It's also
Gotcha.
it's also a term you can find on YouTube where like a lot of these I'm not gonna differentiate whether they're Russian or German or that, but there's a lot of dudes with YouTube channels who are taking like egg embryos and stuff and like injecting them with like human DNA. Like they call them
What?
They call them homunculuses, but there's a group of people on YouTube who are like taking like egg yolks and eggs and shit and testing them and creating like these hybrid creatures that like ultimately die within the first month of doing it. But like there's
Wow.
a dude who like took an egg and actually got like an eye to grow out of it. It's in like a fucking aquarium. Dude, it's insane.
That's that's terrifying.
That's YouTube for you, man.
That is scary. But
Well,
it seems like it's inevitable that we all head in that direction at some point.
Have you done DMT? Have you done DMT, Jay?
Oh, me?
I'm just
right.
Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah, Joe Rogan.
Right. Yeah. Although I learned from Joe Rogan that DMT it's not so much something that you take, but it's a hormone that's released. Well, not a hormone, but a chemical released from your own brain, right? So,
At the moment of death.
yeah, right. And I've definitely done things that make my body think that it's dying.
Yes, definitely. We like to welcome Jay from Owel. He's the singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, if you will. They had my favorite album of 2019 with Paris, and I know they're working on new music now. He's pooped. He needs coffee. He's good.
I feel this every morning. I feel this whole thing with coffee.
Yeti.
And today
Wow.
I have this much coffee and I have this much espresso. So
Oh, wow.
What's the difference between coffee and espresso? I'm not a coffee drinker, so
yeah. Well, espresso is just a more, I guess, like condensed form of coffee, where coffee is like a more watered down. I mean, they use the same beans. Well,
So
it's still coffee
it's
beans.
like more potent.
Yeah.
gotcha.
So,
Pretty
Doug, for you, it would be like using live resin versus flour.
Well, technically, live resin is one form. There's live resin, there's live rosin, there's hash rosin. Like, I could go down the whole list of cannabis extracts if you really want to do that, but I don't think he wants to do that. No.
I'm sure you could.
Yeah, I used to smoke quite a bit, but I don't anymore. And so all this newer stuff is like sort of like over my head. Although, yeah,
Man.
it would have been great if this was around and accessible when I used to smoke.
Yeah, 20 years ago, this would have been really cool for me, but now I don't.
Yeah, I actually I don't know why, but I get incredible like anxiety when I smoke now, and just like nothing but I'm like all of a sudden trapped in my body, and just like super negative thoughts, just like and it sucks because I really miss smoking pot. I like the smell, I like the communal aspect of it, getting your friends together, passing around a blunt, although that might change with I don't know, COVID, I don't know, but
Right?
But so I miss everything about pot except actually being high. Out of it just like happened out of nowhere. Like I used to smoke every day and I loved it, and then there was like a switch where like just like I kept smoking because it was just such a big part of my life, but I was like really going through like a mental rut, and I couldn't even associate that being high was what was doing it, because being high was just my like natural state at this point.
Natural state, yeah.
And then I started seeing this girl, and I knew that pot made me like not capable of hitting on girls or kicking any sort of game. So I was like, all right, I'm just not gonna be high when I'm around this girl. And then I was like, oh wait, like I don't feel insecure and like full of anxiety all the time. I'm like, maybe it's the pot. And so yeah, I don't know what. And so on our last tour, like, and I do this every once in a while. I'm like, maybe this time it'll be different. Maybe this time I'll smoke and I'll like feel like it used to. So on our last tour, we're like passing all these like dispensaries with amazing pot, and there's pot smokers in the band, so of course we're gonna stop for them because it's like Disneyland for them. And so I get
Right.
I get a joint. I explained to the guy what happens to me. I'm like, so yeah, like this happens, and he's like, oh, no problem. What you need is like a hybrid of like a blah 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 and a blah blah blah. And so I'm like, great, okay, it's like prescribed to me now. Like this certain strain will prevent me from getting that way. Anyway, so I'm like afraid to smoke. I'm holding onto this joint, and finally we have a show in Canada. We are crossing the border. I need to do something with this because I'm not taking, that unnecessary risk of crossing a border with pot. So I smoke it, and yeah, exactly what would happened, which is like I got in my head. I put like my headphones in and like pretended to listen to music so no one would talk to me because you're stuck. Because you're stuck in a van. I mean, like I can't like the time before that, I just like left the party. I was like, okay, well that's it for me. Goodbye. But now I'm stuck in a van, and this is how I know it's not. I mean, these guys are like, and girl, they're my family. They're like my brothers and sister.
Yeah.
Like, so if
And
I
when
don't
you feel like you gotta
comfortable-
leave from them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember. I mean, I did listen to music. I was like listening to like Hans Zimmerman at some point.
That's
I
awesome.
love Hans Zimmerman.
It was a very like epic, and I went through this whole like mental crisis in my head, and I was like terrified of like playing a show. I mean, like, so imagine being so terrified of talking to people. That's how like insecure you feel, because you feel like everything you're gonna say, everything that you've ever said, is the stupidest thing that could possibly be said.
Welcome to every day of my life.
That's how you feel, and then that in a matter of hours you have to get on a stage in front of people, and it was just the most
Pour your heart out.
terrifying. Yeah, so it was the worst idea, and then it turned into the best idea because I went through this like mental like it was like an intense therapy session with myself. By the end of it, I was okay, and it was a really good show. I don't know.
Hey,
Yeah.
as long as it works out. I mean, I think for me, it started getting anxiety riddled after I had a bad trip one time.
Yeah.
I had smoked
yeah.
a lot. I had smoked a lot of pot and done a lot of acid in the same night.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember very vividly, like, there were people around me, and two of my friends kind of started fighting, and, like, I just pictured me slamming one of my friends' heads through a table. And then I snapped out of it, and, like, I was reaching towards the dude. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, nothing. And it got to the point I was so fucked up that everything I thought I was saying, I was thinking, and everything I thought I was thinking, I was saying. So shit got real weird. Because I was saying some pretty fucked up shit, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stop doing drugs now.
That was pot?
Pot and a lot of LSD.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what it is, because I used to I used to take mushrooms and trip all the time as well. Maybe that like unlocked a certain like box that like
that shouldn't have been unlocked for me.
yeah.
LSD, yeah. I'm done with LSD myself. You already know the last time I did it, and that's the reason why.
Yep.
I think as you get older, you have those moments where you find yourself doing something that you love doing, and then you have that one experience where you're like, you know what? I'm past this. I don't need to do this anymore. I've learned all I can learn from it. Now, unfortunately, it's not like that for me with pot, but the way
not unfortunate. It's
No, as long as
preference.
you enjoy it. I mean, as long as you
You're
enjoy
right,
it and
you're
you're
right.
not hurting anybody.
You're right.
It's kind of like when I was at that face-to-face show and with John back in November 2019. We were up in the front, and I saw the mosh pit happening behind us, and they just kept hitting this girl over and over who didn't want to be part of the pit. So I did what I always did. I got in the pit, knocked a bunch of people over, and then I left the pit. I'm like, God, I'm too fucking old to be doing this shit anymore, man. Like, I am too old to be getting in pits and knocking over 20-year-olds. Unless I'm shooting a show, for the most part, I kind of chill towards the back nowadays. Like,
Yeah.
2 of the 5 shows I've got coming up, I think I'm in the balcony. When I'm in the front nowadays, if I'm not shooting, I just feel like, man, some asshole's going to kick me in the back of the head, and then I'm going to get pissed off. And, you know, like, I've got, like, that curmudgeon-y old guy thing going now where I'm just like, ugh, stay off my lawn.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm glad we're past that. I don't know if we're past it, but I mean, when towards the end of like my like pit attending days, there was like the people that would like bounce off each other and run into each other, and that was all good fun. But then there was like the people that would like, it looked like they were like hardcore breakdancing, like with the
with the spin kicks and
And
Doug has a story about that.
Oh yeah, I can't even think of the name of the group that did that to me either, and I don't even remember the band that was. I know it was up in Cape Coral. That was when I first met you. That was like 2004, 2005.
And you guys didn't call me till the next day, otherwise I'd have been right there.
I did. It was something that happened out of nowhere. I'm just sitting on the outside of the entire show was outside at a like an old metal factory or some shit like that, out in the middle of nowhere. And there was a bunch of hardcore bands playing. There was some group from Naples, Florida that came down. I can't think of their name. There was like a gang of dudes that wore all white wife beaters and had shaved heads. Something ninjas. They called themselves something ninjas. It was fucking stupid. And they were running around in a circle in the pit punching kids. And the lead singer of like the band that organized the whole thing came out and said, "Hey guys, like if you don't want to be part of any of the violence, like get away from the pit, back up, just enjoy the show, and anybody in the pit, leave people alone on the outsides, let them enjoy the show. We're all here to be together to enjoy music." And I stood on the outside of the pit with some buddies, and one of these dudes in a white beater just started spinning around in a circle and like roundhouse kicked me in the fucking jaw. I've never experienced anything like that before. It really kind of rung my bell. And,
for sure. You for sure got like a concussion from that. That's serious shit, man.
I instinctively took my water bottle and whipped it at the guy. Next thing I know, I got 5 of them coming at me throwing fists, man. It was not a fun night.
Those people need to train jiu-jitsu or get out their aggression in some sort of safe way. That's ridiculous.
Or just get their ass kicked. One of the two.
Or go to
They need to be humbled.
Dude, I was at Lollapalooza in 94, and it was the day after Woodstock 94.
Oof.
And Green Day... Yeah, it was literally the next day, and Green Day was supposed to play, and Billy Joe walked on stage. He's like, "Hey guys, I know you're going to be really upset, but we can't play. Our bassist had his teeth knocked out by security last night at Woodstock." And the crowd just went fucking... And if you go back and watch it, the security jumped Mike Durnt.
Mike
Durnt.
What's his name? Mike Durnt.
Security fucked them up pretty good, and it broke out a couple of... It was Woodstock 94. It was just such a mess, dude. Like, people were fighting, and people were throwing mud and shit.
Is that like the Hell's Angels thing? Where they had like Hell's Angels good security?
No, that was Woodstock, the first Woodstock, wasn't it? Hell's Angels was there.
No, that was one in San Francisco where the guy got knifed during the Rolling Stones show. The Rolling Stones hired the Hell's Angels.
That's
okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm positive.
Okay. Or maybe both, you know? I mean...
Yeah. One of the guys who came with us, we took 6 of us in a Hyundai hatchback all the way down to Miami, and one guy literally rode in the hatchback and slept back there. And the only reason he went was to go see Green Day, so he was the most bummed guy in the world, because that was the only band he wanted to see that day. People were throwing fists like crazy during that show. I mean, I'm all for everybody having a good time, and I mean, the closest I've come to having something like that, it was Lollapalooza in 96, and it was at West Palm Beach, and it was like for whatever reason, they decided to have it at a seated amphitheater, which was a bad idea, because you had Tool, you had Korn, and it was just a lot of heavy hitters. Snoop Dogg, which is weird.
Snoop Dogg played with Tool? At the
Korn,
same show.
yeah.
That is awesome. I would have loved to have seen
Sounds
that.
about right. I remember that era where like Korn was like sort of ushering in hip hop into the new metal scene. Like, you know, they were like tightly associated with Ice Cube. And so that makes sense. That sounds about right.
Yeah, but during Korn, people started complaining that there were seats, and people were grabbing and ripping and unbolting the seats and throwing them. And I'm just like, this is a horrible idea. You know,
that was West Palm.
the Mars Music Amphitheater.
That's why I saw The Cure there.
So
nice.
picture somebody ripping all those seats out.
Something tells me no one was ripping the seats out for the Cure, huh?
No, that was actually a really nice, quiet show where everybody was happy to be there.
I'm sure it was. I saw Counting Crows in live there, which was a really good show.
That's such a different experience than like I know the last time we talked about like how much I love Sigur Rós, and I remember seeing them one time. If you've never been to a Sigur Rós show, it's unlike any other show where it's like you're watching an opera or something. It's like the audience is dead silent. And which is actually really great because you're watching this band. It's not like they're like doing backflips off their cabs. Like all they have to offer is their beautiful sonics. So why would you want to hide that with noise? So it's just dead silent during these songs. And I remember there's just like this quiet part. I literally like whispered to myself like the melody of that quiet part, and someone behind me went. And I was like,
"That's awesome!
I was like,
that is
all right.
awesome."
I would love to see them live.
Different, yeah. Oh, dude, it's been a while. So, I don't know what their live show looks like these days, but the last time someone was at Madison Square Garden, and yeah, it's just like any other concert. It's not like a rock concert. You're watching this like audio. You're having this like audio, and the visuals are pretty amazing. I mean, it's just like this experience.
I've got a list of maybe 10 bands left that I want to see, and then I'm pretty much tapped out unless something new comes out. I still love going to shows. I still go to probably 5 or 10 a year, if not more, on a normal year. As I get older, like I was looking the other day, like I'm not a huge Dance Gavin Dance fan, but I'm a huge Animals as Leaders fan. And Animals as Leaders is opening for Dance Gavin Dance on their current tour. And I guess it was booked pre-COVID, and then they're reselling it now. I'm like, I'm not paying $183 to watch Animals as Leaders play a 45-minute set just so I can leave before Dance Gavin Dance even comes on.
Wait, what do you mean? That's how much the tickets are?
Yeah, because it's only through resellers right now. It's sold out, so people are reselling them for cheapest seats, $132.85.
What?
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm not
I
fucking.
didn't realize
doing
that they were that big. I mean,
just on the resale market, man. Just on the resale market, people want what they can't have. Years ago, I had a single ticket to go see Pearl Jam, and then I didn't feel like going alone, and I was like, I'll just put it up on StubHub, and I didn't set a price. Within an hour, somebody had offered me $300 for this ticket that I had paid $90 for, and I was like, if you're gonna pay me $300 to stay home on a Thursday, I'll take it. People had tickets listed for $1,400 a piece, and people were buying them.
As crazy as that is, it makes more sense because it's Pearl Jam and a band of that magnitude. But it's
right.
Something that I mean, not that Dance Gavin Dance is like a local band by any means, but there's
but I can't picture paying triple digits to see them.
Yeah, right. I mean, to be honest, I love music. I probably will never pay triple digits to see anyone. I mean,
I wanted to see Prince. Like him, I could have gone to see Prince, but like I can't. There's people I love in this world, but I have to be able to justify spending over $200 to spend, even if it's a 2 or 3 hour show and they put their all into it. Right. $200 is a lot of money, bro. Like $30 is a lot of money by today's standard.
I remember I wanted to get my wife tickets to go see Roger Waters when he was doing The Wall again. And I was like, all right, I'll surprise her. And I was like, God damn, this is expensive. I'm like, she's like the major money winner in the house. So I'm like, maybe I should double check with her before I buy these. She's like, I love you and I appreciate the idea, but if you would have spent $600 on 2 tickets, I might have stabbed you in your sleep. Because they were $300 plus, and those weren't even for good seats. And that was not resale. That was just what Roger Waters was charging.
Like I've always wanted to go to like a UFC fight, but I'm just again not paying triple digits for for that
something that could end in 90 seconds.
Yeah, and to be honest, like, I would love to go, like, from what I understand, if your seats aren't great, you're kind of just watching the screen anyways, the screen that, you would watch at home. I mean, so you're really just going for, like, the sort of communal, like, the energy of the,
the vibe.
The vibe, and, I don't know why I just sounded like Christopher Walken this time. That's nice.
The vibe.
Because you needed more cowbell.
Yeah. Okay, so all of us are horrible at doing Christopher Walken.
Very horrible. Very horrible.
Yeah, it's for one night, for a one night event, just like maybe for a festival, you can see a bunch of bands.
Yeah, for now that they're doing these 3 and 4 day festivals, that I can totally get behind. I had just seen Pearl Jam, and then I think I paid $40 or $50. Okay, wasn't bad. Well, Eddie started doing a solo tour to support his Water on the Road. It was the Water on the Road tour, which became a Blu-ray, and then he played in Florida, and it was random seating. So if you were in the back or the front, it was the same price. You didn't know till you got there.
Oh, interesting.
And it was like $110 per ticket. I'm like, I just saw the entire band play for 4 hours for $50.
Yeah,
And I'm not gonna watch just the lead singer play a ukulele for an hour
yeah.
for $100.
I thought about like hitting the road as a solo, like not a solo artist, but like it's just a matter of like logistics and availability. You know, I mean, to make 6 people's schedules work is a lot harder to make one person's schedule work. So I've often thought about just like hitting
Doing
the
some
road,
one-off.
doing an acoustic set, like in like smaller places. But yeah, I just don't know what the demand for that would be. And
I'd go to
I
that.
mean,
I would totally go to that.
I would definitely go to that.
I would go to that more than I would go to most electric shows. But I also like quiet acoustic sets too. I think those are sometimes almost better for me personally as I get older.
it's tough though. Like I feel like our songs really rely on the instrumentation. Like that's like the violin, the horns, the guitars, like all that, like the drums.
You guys play like a well-oiled machine.
I mean, I've done like acoustic versions, like stripped down of certain songs. Certain things work okay. Really depends on the song. And there's songs that are just like what makes them great is the actual bones of it, right? Like, and then there's songs that what makes them great is like the sort of the sonics of it, the textures and for example, like you could take like a Sigur Rós song and it might not translate well if you just strip it down to an acoustic guitar. And they say like all great songs should work well if you strip it down to an acoustic guitar. And while that's partially true, I don't completely agree because I think there's a lot of songs that what make them great is everything working together. But there are songs that no matter where you play it on, what instrument you play it on, it's going to be a great song.
Juggalo Homies.
Oh, jeez. Like in my brain, as you're describing that, like the whole sonics and then stripping everything back, I'm trying to picture like an Explosions in the Sky song stripped back.
Right.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
It doesn't work
because their songs aren't a traditional. They're not traditional songs in that there's a verse, chorus,
right.
And then it's a guy with a guitar singing. I mean, they're instrumentals. So I mean, you're just gonna end up having like one guy just like sort of noodling. And some of our songs depend on the bones of it, and then some of our songs rely on all the other limbs. I suppose if I'm making that analogy, it'd be like bones versus like
ligaments.
Yeah, flesh. I don't know, but
skin.
Have you written like a steady? Like, I would say steady, but have you written like a lot of your own music aside from Owel, from the band, like your own stuff?
Not really, because I'm lucky enough where that I can anything I want to write, anything I want to do, anything any sound I want to make, I could do within this band. But I have thought about like. But the limitations of that are like, okay, I always think about the execution of it live. So all the songs kind of have 2 guitars because I know that I don't want to be on stage with no guitar because then my hands are free and then I wouldn't have the shield to hide behind. So even if it's just a ring, just like it's just something for and all the songs have drums. But for the most part, most of the songs have strings. It's just like because I'm thinking about like what that's gonna be like live and giving everyone something to do. But like, let's just say like I wanted to make a song with like no drums, it's like just a pad. Like, I had thought about that. It's just I haven't written a song yet where I'm like, oh, like this isn't a song for Owel, like because for me, Owel is like has sort of a wide palette that it can sort of fit within that,
Very much so. Especially, I mean, you've got your remixes that you guys have done that have.
Yeah, right. That was a fun little exercise. Unless I want to like write like straight up like R&B jams or like pop track. I do like so. My job is I write for like TV placements and commercials, and so that gets that sort of out of me where like I get to exercise those muscles and writing pop songs. It's fun. So and I get to sort of like get that out of my system with that stuff.
I was going to ask. I mean, so two questions. One is the most consistently used question probably in any interview. Like, do you have a favorite song to play or a least favorite song to play or a song you won't play live? And two, do you all have day jobs or do you just play all the time?
Yeah, we all have day jobs. A song that we refuse to play or that we never play is I Am Not Yours. And the reason is because that ending, my vocals go into this like ball pinching register where I'm like, I can't execute that live, like night after night. It just won't happen. And I've done versions of it where I'm like changing the melody so I don't have to go up there, but that just seems like such a cop out. So unfortunately, that gets requested a lot. Thankful that people like that song. But unfortunately, it probably won't be played anytime soon, unless like it's in my puberty. And the song that we love playing live, yeah, I don't know. For some reason, Snow Globe it just always fucking hits. Like at that ending, it always just feels. I mean, like even in rehearsal, it's just like we hit that point and then we just know like everything's gonna be okay from here. Unfortunately, it's the last song usually in our set. It just hits really good. I mean, you would think I would be sick of it because we've literally played that song every set since it's been written.
Would have been what, 2013?
Something like that. Holy shit, yeah.
When you go out on the road, when you have a set list,
yeah,
do you swap out any songs at any point, like during the tour? Or is it like the same exact set every night?
We don't really have a set way of about that, but what we did on our last tour was we had our set list, and then we had our extra songs that we could work in, depending on if someone's like, oh my god, like I would just really love if you played blah blah blah, and if that's like in our list of like songs that we have worked on and that we could just throw in there and change out for another, we will do that. We're working right now just like on our live set right now because like when we come back, we want to come back hard. Like, I mean, we've invested into like lights and automated lights, like where like before it was like, we're sort of tap dancing because our feet are like turning on and off the lights behind and in front of us.
Yep.
But the lights be automated, so that just means that we could do so much more with them, more lights, samples, like stuff like that we're like working into our live set, and also just like the amount of songs. For example, like Float. Like we haven't played that in our live set forever. Like that's like one of the songs that we're like, let's work that back in. Like let's just have like a bunch of songs that we're always ready for, in case we're just feeling it that day.
I saw this guy on Twitter. I don't know who he was, but he suggested that you and Jane should do a duet of "Don't You Want Me."
Oh really?
Oh, it's a good song.
It was me, but still. I was driving the other night and it came on some random Spotify thing, and I was like, look, they did Islands in the Stream, so I don't know why this wouldn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very special occasion, and that's what set it off. Actually, that was the first quarantine cover session, where we're like, okay, I guess this will work, doing it this way, and it'll keep us making music while we're apart from each other. Yeah, that was really fun. That was just a very like weird, special time.
The quarantine covers, they were all great. I've introduced a lot of people to your music because I drive all night long. I just drive strangers around constantly. And you start to kind of get a vibe of what people are going to listen to, like what they're going to like, what they're not going to like. And the other night, I picked up these people from like the most bougie fucking restaurant you could possibly imagine, like so much money. And the woman looked like, and I hate to say it, like a total Karen. And I was listening to classical when she got in. She's like, are you in an orchestra? I'm like, no. She's like, can we listen to Too Short? I was like, yes,
Hell yeah.
Yes we can. I'm like, you just made my fucking night, lady. Like, I love it when people just throw you a curveball like that.
That's
And-
funny. Like I used to do a little bit of Uber driving as well. I had different playlists depending on what my assumption of the person was, which is kind of unfair. I mean, you're making an unfair assumption of the person,
Right.
Based on nothing. Are they the type of person that's gonna want to talk? Like, I think,
Right.
I'm friendly. I can talk. Or
Right.
are they the type of person where like are gonna get annoyed if I talk? All these little things that like you're just like dealing with so many different people that.
Yeah, so last night, my last ride of the night, they were 3 very drunk guys with a dad and 2 adult sons. And one adult son kept talking about how I'm gonna fuck this up, but he's like, "Yeah, I blew the last Uber driver, and he still wouldn't take me all the way home." And I was like, and I don't like. He said it so many times, I wasn't sure if he was joking or not at that point. And they're like, just play whatever kind of music you want. And I was like, man, the last time somebody said that, I played Russian death metal. They're like, let's give that a whirl. And I was like, all right. And the guy's like, and I'm like, you know what? If you can sing this, the ride's free. And it was like a $50 ride. Yeah. And he's like, I got the first word. I'm like, yeah, no, sorry, man. Then the old man, he's like, can we listen to Post Malone? And I was like,
yeah,
I guess. Like, I've never played a Post Malone song before in my life. Like, so I'm like, I'll hit the first one. I don't know what this is. It wasn't bad. It's not something that I think, oh, this is what I'm going to listen to tonight.
And then you have the people that wear headphones, and you're not even realizing they're wearing headphones. So you're playing music that you think is like, that you think they would like, and then like 3/4 into the trip, you realize they're wearing headphones, and they don't give a fuck what you're playing.
No, I told Doug the other night, these 2 people got in, and I was already pissed because they wouldn't say who they were to confirm it was them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, whatever, get in the fucking car.
Really?
And
what? They were just like...
They were like ignoring me. This girl starts playing music on her phone. Like, and I had my radio down. I was like, so I Shazammed it really quick. And then I just fucking cranked it, like, stupid loud. Yeah. And when it was over, I'm like, you want to hear anything else? She's like, no, thank you.
That's hilarious.
I can't stand that awkward quiet ride. Like, I have to have some music or something.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a long ride. I'm like, I can't just sit here with your ass that I don't know for 2 hours. That's why I kind of turned off the microphone on my dash cam, because some of the shit people tell you.
It's like admission of crimes.
Yeah, like, you shouldn't be telling me this at all. Like, I don't want to know this.
I accidentally killed my sister when I was 3. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, I pretended I was a cat and I was taking her breath. I don't know how much Jay got of this, but when you're a driver, people will tell you shit that they don't tell anyone else, because I guess they don't think you're gonna remember it. And some of it
you'll never see them again. So
yeah,
it's like you're like a priest in a in a confessional.
Yep, they say some shit, and you're like, ooh, okay, I'll take you home now that I found out, you cheated on your 5th wife with your 3rd wife. And generally when it's stuff like that, I just smile and nod and put on something. I find some kind of musical song to relate to that situation, to just kind of like, this works. I love podcasts, but a lot of my passengers really just want to hear music. But if they request a podcast, I'll play whatever.
I listen to them occasionally, depending on like the guest or if there's somebody I really want to listen to. Sadly, I listen to our podcast more than I care to admit, because I edit it, and it's just, oh my god, a fucking nightmare for me to listen to my own voice most of the time, which is why I don't really talk a whole lot on guest episodes.
No, I hear you. Yeah, it's for someone that sings into a microphone every day. I mean, not every day, but frequently. I hate the sound of my own voice. I mean, I hate the sound of my talking voice, and sometimes my singing voice. It's just the worst. Back, and you're like, fuck, who is that?
I don't know that I've ever met a person that will admit publicly that they like the sound of their own voice. Like, I hear somebody like Sam Elliott who has like the perfect voiceover voice. You got to think he's like, I love my voice. And he's probably like, oh, I sound like too much of a cowboy in his own head. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to wonder, like, does Brad Pitt wake up every day and be like, you're fucking Brad Pitt. It's going to be a good day today.
Remember Janice from Friends? Did you ever watch Friends?
Yes.
Yeah. Is like, she has like a super pleasant voice, which is funny because her character,
my voice is the most monotone, boring voice out there. until I get angry, and then it just gets like this, only angry, and my face gets red. I envy people who have a range and who can, like you can sing in these different registers. And like, if you were to try to teach me to sing, you'd be like, wow, this fucking guy literally cannot hit a single note in any key. Like, that's...
Oh man, you might have a sick bass voice, I mean, and that's hard to come by. Let's do a little exercise, ready?
Oh god.
Give him a voice to men. You could be that deep voice guy from Voice to Men.
No,
I
I
just want to see
can't.
if you can match a pitch. That's it. I'm gonna sing a note and then just try to match. I'm gonna find out if you're tone deaf, basically.
Okay, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, you're tone deaf. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm tone deaf. Like, it's not there, dude. Like, I hear it, but it's not gonna come out of me the same way.
Okay, how about this? What's your lowest note that you could do?
So, like
like
just
a
going
note.
down. So,
Yeah. Okay, I don't think that's a note. I think that's just like.
No.
It's,
That's the
so
sound
give me a note.
okay. Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you bent up to it. Nice, but you matched it in the end.
No. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be able to train that thing. Train your ear and train your voice.
Get you in the studio, man. You could be background for a lot of different people.
Dude, people with like
I'm
really
the
deep
guy.
voices that sing like there's not a lot of them.
You got Barry White and
As much as I hate the sound of my own voice, I think one of my dream gigs would be to do voiceover work. Because as much as I hate listening to this, I like to think I'm pretty good at like mimicking other people's tones and voices. So
you're not a bad singer.
Me?
I've heard. Yeah, I've heard. He can do some. He can do some.
Oh.
Give me one.
Me? Oh, you want me to sing right now?
Maybe with an impression. Whether it be
impression.
okay, you can be a speaking impression.
Well, I can do. Let me try doing like Nathaniel Rateliff. I'm gonna need someone to help me. You just kind of, I don't know. I feel fucking weird doing this now in front of two people. Man.
Yeah. That's good.
So how do you think he does it every night?
I know. But that's
do that every night?
Dude, it gets rough. I used to do it like every Friday night when I was hosting karaoke when I first moved here, and I think within a year, like I blew my voice out for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I used to sing to little kids in Montessori schools. I used to go from school to school, like 3 schools in America, and just like jump into a class, do a bunch of kids' songs with a guitar, and then go to the next class and the next class, and the day was sort of filled with that. And my like, as much as I loved it, because it was just great fucking fun, my voice was just shot by the end of the week. And I would always stick, because kids, they like talking to you into your mouth, like, hey man, I gotta tell you something, and then and
the next thing you know, you're sick.
Yeah, that's a rough gig, and it would be hard for me to pull back and like conserve my voice, because they're just so full of energy, and I can't help but want to match that energy.
Yeah, and they're so happy.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna, gyp them of that, of that energy. So wheels on the bus and all that jazz.
So if I see you guys, if you come to Florida, when I meet you there and shoot the show, I'm gonna be like, can you play Wheels on the Bus tonight?
You know what? I would if your kid wasn't if you brought your kid, but if she wasn't like already too old for Wheels on the Bus, I would have.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would just be doing it out of irony at that point.
No, my daughter, she has been wanting to go to a Coheed show for like 7 years now.
Yeah.
And she's had a crush on 2 different members of the band, and I'm like, honey, stop. Like, stop it, you're creeping me out. She's like, can I go to this show? And I'm like, no. I don't want you anywhere near the front of the stage when the Used is playing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's gonna get ugly, and I don't want to have to fight a bunch of people. And like, if I'm standing side stage, I don't mind taking her and just putting like headphones on her. Yeah. But I don't want her being out in the crowd where I have to.
Whenever like I'm playing a show and there's people like right up on the stage, I look down and I think, what are you doing here? Like, I love that you're here. It's good for me. It's good for my ego. But what are you getting out of this? You're getting a horrible mix. You're like getting my monitor.
Yep.
and everything coming out of the PA is just sort of like coming past you. Like, I guess I do kind of get it because I was young once. Bands always sort of encourage people to come up to the stage, and where I'm like the opposite. I'm just like, no, it's probably gonna sound pretty good back there by the sound guy. You move over here. Yeah, when you see a band at like some like festival, and then you see like they have all their friends on the side of the stage, and I'm like, they're getting the worst experience because it does
Oh
not
yeah,
sound
it's
on stage. It sounds isolated on stage, and
right.
every member's getting what they need to get to to play the songs.
I remember shooting from behind the drummer, and so I'm standing behind the drummer shooting, and then shooting the crowd, and all I can hear is drums. I'm like, I know this song like the back of my hand, and I'm like, what part are we at now? Because all I can hear is drums.
Right.
And I'm like, that's so confusing because like I know it so well, and I got completely lost because all I could hear was the drums. And
Right.
once I lost the guitar riff, I'm like, wait, where are we?
There's that scene in Almost Famous where Billy
My
Crudup-
favorite movie ever.
Oh yeah, Billy Crudup. Like they call him Opie and Kate Hudson are on the side of the stage, and he's like, watch this, and then he goes out and rocks, and they're just loving it. But like in reality, he's like, watch this, and then all you get is just like shit sound, and like you barely hear the vocals. Like, yeah, it wouldn't be fun.
It's never like that when you're side stage. It's a cool experience to watch a band from the side stage, but as far as sound, it's always horrible.
I remember seeing Guar play at a small little nightclub in Florida and standing right in front of the speakers at the front of the stage. I remember it physically hurting the insides of my ears, but I didn't. I remember standing and staring at it thinking, this is pretty cool, and then leaving the show afterwards and not being able to hear for an hour, and I'm like, I don't know what was cool about that. I thought it was cool.
I mean, Gore I could sort of understand because you're not going to see a Gore show to get the sonic experience. You're going for the theatrics and to get a little bit of blood splattered on you or whatever. So I could see why you would want to be front of the stage.
So what would you all say is the loudest show each of you have been to?
Me?
Like
Him?
both of you.
Okay.
Pure volume.
I'll let Jay go. I got to think about that.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, there's shows where the loudest, maybe like a Deftones show comes to mind, but I mean, I'm pretty deaf, so
I feel that.
yeah. I mean, after every show, there's like ringing in my ears, which is horrible, which is a sign of I'm gonna go deaf.
The loudest that maybe it's my kid brain remembering, but most painfully loud was actually MC Hammer.
Really?
The bass broke a water main at the Lee Civic Center. It was so much.
That's crazy.
It was so intensely loud. I was like, when I saw Metallica like a month later, Metallica was not as loud as MC Hammer.
Yeah.
That's amazing to hear.
It was so
Surprising.
fucking loud.
Huh.
And he had the whole like entourage with like 30 people on stage dancing, like the whole bit. I mean, it was so overdone.
Yeah.
But that was definitely the loudest show I've ever been to.
If I had to choose a loud show, it would probably be one of the X Fests, where Bob and I, where I was from in Florida, a local radio station had a rock fest every year where they'd bring in like all these different bands. And I think that the one we went to with Lit and Disturbed and Sum 41 and Alien Ant Farm, and there was so many. That may have been the loudest show I've ever been to. That was in the Red Sox Stadium, if I remember correctly.
That was the Twin Stadium.
Twin Stadium, thank you.
All right. Favorite comic book character, Jay, if you have one.
When I used to read comics, I used to I was like early teens. So I tend to like gravitate towards like teen, like it sounds like super corny, but like I subscribe to like the Superboy comics. Right? Was that his name?
Yeah,
Superboy?
Superboy. Nothing
He
corny
had
about
like a leather jacket. He looked freaking cool as fuck. And like, was it Impulse? He was like
Yep.
teenage Flash, right? Like, because I was like, oh, they're cool. So
He's a DC fan. I love him already.
I mean, I will say though that when it comes to movies, I mean, one's clearly better than the other. It's not
Agreed.
seeing comics.
But
Yeah.
But so I mean, when I read comics, like those come to mind. Yeah, I thought Nightwing was also really cool.
Nightwing is
He
fucking cool. He's really cool.
yeah.
Now you're speaking my language, bro. You want to get on? You want to see something cool? Get on. You got HBO Max. Get on HBO Max and watch Titans if you haven't watched Titans.
Yeah, I'm afraid to, because again, everything cinematic that DC has done, I haven't been a fan, except Joker,
Their TV,
which is like a cliche at this point to say, but
their TV show before the HBO thing, they actually created an app like 2 years ago. It was the DC Universe app. You paid like $70 or $80, and they were creating original TV content. Titans started there. They did one season of Swamp Thing, which James Wan did, and it was fucking amazing.
really,
All-
I remember the old show, The Swamp Thing. I used to watch that when I was a little kid.
all of the DC shows that they created that are now on HBO. They did one for Doom Patrol, which their live action Doom Patrol on HBO is sublime. If you like Grant Morrison's writing and stuff, but their TV shows that they did are absolutely worth checking. They're nothing like the movies. Swamp Thing especially. If you like Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, they literally took that book and made a one season live action, and it is one of the coolest shows I've ever seen. Like visually, story wise, acting. Oh,
And that's available on HBO now?
Yep. Their DC HBO is bought Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns DC, so all of their old cartoons, all of their movies, all of their TV, it's all on HBO, and it is so worth it.
There's too much good TV now. It's like
Yes.
there's just not enough fucking time in the day. Like,
There isn't.
like those are so well made. They're so well acted, and like it's just like, god damn it, like I just don't have time to watch everything that's good.
I'm kind of glad that's why they're limiting it, though. A lot of shows now are like 6-episode limited series. When him and I first became friends, I remember 24 being the big series that everybody binge watched. And that was literally 24 1-hour-long episodes for a season. Like, who the hell can get through that?
Oh wow, yeah.
I don't know, man. You're talking to a guy who recently just rewatched all of Dawson's Creek, so whatever. I love fucking Dawson's Creek, man.
Hey, man, I like Insane Clown Posse. You give me shit for that, so whatever.
I'm actually rewatching Boy Meets World.
I've
love
never
that.
seen Boy Meets World. I've
Oh,
never
man.
seen Boy Meets World.
Just nostalgia, and I just put it on as I'm falling asleep.
Mr. Feeney, bro.
I think he's still alive.
He is. I love Boy Meets World. That was a great show when I was a kid.
I feel like that show taught me some wrong things. Like Sean, his character. So there's the character Sean, Corey's best friend, who's like kind of dumb, but like well intentioned, like super pretty boy. But like as a kid, I'm like, oh, he's cool. It's cool to be dumb. Like it's cool to be a slacker. And like I wish that lesson wasn't instilled in me from Boy Meets World.
It's funny how our adolescent brains retain certain things.
Well, that's because the stuff that we retain, like all of the stuff that we grew up on, you look back at it now, like he said, with a nostalgia. But you look at some of the stuff and you're like, what the hell were they thinking marketing this to us, man? Like Saved by the Bell, there's a lot of episodes in Saved by the Bell that are like, what the fuck were you guys thinking, man? Like some dude did a series on, I don't have Facebook anymore, and I don't know if it's on YouTube, but there was a guy, I saw him on Facebook. A guy was doing a series of YouTube videos, or Facebook videos, called Zach Morris is Trash.
Zach Morris is trash.
And he
It's
so good, dude. But it was just mind-boggling to see just
about how
fucked
much
up.
of an asshole, manipulative piece of shit Zach Morris is.
Got an
I think I've
overweight girl to buy him at a school auction so he could ask out the pretty girl he liked on a date, like with the money. Like, just a fucked up dude, man.
Yeah, he would be like the villain.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely the villain. But like in the show, Slater's kind of painted to be the villain.
In the early show, but now the new show
Yeah.
that they did for Peacock, he's like the principal or something, or the coach or the gym.
There's a new show. There's a new Saved by the
Yeah.
Bell.
Yep.
Jeez Louise.
Isn't it got like all the original cast or something?
They're all in it except for Dustin Diamond, who obviously, but they're like teachers or faculty or like Zach and Kelly are like the parents of like the main star of the show. It's all updated for millennials, and their kids now go to Bayside, and Jesse Spano and AC Slater are like the gym coach and the English teacher or some shit.
So like no one ever moved out of that town, is what you're telling me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
apparently.
it's kind of sad.
Yeah, they're all like,
All
all right, we peaked here. We're just gonna stay right here.
Guys, our one hit song as a band was Friends Forever. I think we're good right where we are.
Sad, like indicative of the characters of that show, but also like the actors playing those characters. Like in
Right?
the end, they couldn't.
They couldn't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Now, that's a good point.
Well, look, do you know who else is in the new show that boggles my mind as to why I haven't watched the show. I have no desire to watch the new Saved by the Bell. But Max, do you remember the guy who did magic in the restaurant?
Yeah.
That guy is back, and he still has the tall hair and the same shirt, and he's still doing dumb fucking magic tricks, man. It's weird.
Huh.
I don't know, man. You were
I'm
talking.
gonna immediately Google what he looks like now, like after this podcast.
Oh, it's insane, dude. It is so crazy. The
All
only
right,
thing they're missing is Haley Mills from before it was Saved by the Bell. It was Good Morning Miss. God, what was her name on the show? The first 2 seasons of Saved by the Bell. Haley Mills from The Parent Trap, the old Disney actress. She was the teacher. Saved by the Bell originally wasn't called Saved by the Bell. It was called Good Morning Miss Bliss. That's what it was.
What? Really?
It was 2 seasons. It was either
Dude,
one,
you were going fucking deep. What is this?
It's either 1 or 2, the first season or the first 2 seasons, but it was called Good Morning Miss Bliss, and then it changed to Saved by the Bell, and she left after the 2nd or 3rd season, and it became about the kids.
Lady. Sorry, I'm Googling her right now.
Dude,
Yeah, she's lovely.
Yep.
I've never heard of this.
I know a lot of useless shit, man, that'll never leave my brain. It's just, but
Wow.
I'm amazed that it came out today.
Great. She's 75.
Still looks good too, I imagine. She was beautiful when she was in her 40s.
Yeah, she like had like super kind eyes, and she was just like that nurturing.
And it was a different show. And you're right. She was the nurturer. Everybody came into class, Screech, Zach, all of them, and her and Mr. Belding. Mr. Belding wasn't so much in the show as much as she was, but she was like the cornerstone of like good advice, how to live right. This is what you guys should do. And then she left, and it became like, hey, there's an actor coming in to teach us not to smoke pot, but he's going to smoke pot with like just weird shit that came out of nowhere.
I remember that episode.
Yeah. Oh. God, lies, all lies, man.
It's been good having you on.
Thanks, man.
We didn't get to talk about it, but I know you have new music coming out.
Before we go, yes, please speak about the new music and links. Anything you want to promote, by all means, let's get it up.
Yeah, we have new music coming out. Should be out probably pretty close to the time that this podcast will come out.
Excellent.
And we're gonna do like song by song instead of like dropping the whole record at one time. We're just gonna release one song at a time. There's new music coming out. I'm excited, so excited for everyone to hear it.
Do you have a completed set of like how many songs are going to be total?
Yes.
Do you plan on like giving like an actual album title and collecting them all in like a thing, or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I have one question to go with that. Are you the type of band that names the song from the beginning, or do you have working titles for the song?
Oh, working titles, totally.
Okay. I always love hearing working titles because then like some bands will tell me the working titles, then I'll listen to the album and try to figure out which one was which.
Yeah.
That's always fascinating to me.
There was I posted a picture of like on Instagram of like just this list I had made of the songs that we were considering for to record, and a lot of them are just working titles. And sometimes I keep the working titles. Sometimes the title has nothing to do with the messaging of the song, or I just keep it because it's just like become what what we as a band know it as. I tend not to like name the song. If like the chorus of the song is like, I love watermelon. I tend not to name the song I love watermelon or watermelon or my love of watermelon. I try to be a little bit more interesting. I do love watermelon, by the way.
That was the best off the top chorus. That was too good.
The record is I love watermelon, and you should all check it out.
I can't wait to hear I Love Watermelon. It's going to be so awesome.
And I want you to know, Jay, that thanks to your empowerment of him and his ICP dreams, he has now decided to randomly do some future episode without me knowing in Juggalo face paint.
It's gonna happen. I'm gonna do my face up like Shaggy 2 Dope, and it's just gonna happen one day out of the blue. I might do it if we have Jay on again, or as somebody that you really want on. Like I might just show up as an ICP Juggalo. I don't care. Whoop whoop, man. We're fam, dude.
This is what you've got me dealing with now.
August, man, Ohio. Let's go to the Gathering of the Juggalos. All three of us. Let's get it.
I'm so busy for the entire month of August. It's so
You're
weird.
so full of shit.
No, I do have 3 shows to go to in August, so
Yeah, but they're not Gathering of the Juggalos, man. They're not.
I would much rather see Alanis Morissette. I'm sorry.
I would like to see Alanis.
She's
Morissette, too.
fucking amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to see her live. I really can't. And I really want her to play Unsent, and I know she's not going to play it because she never plays it, but, you know, it is what it is. All right,
I'll see you guys
guys.
at the Gathering of the Juggalos.
Whoop, whoop.
That's how you got to end it right there.
Hey, Jay, thank you for your time again.
Hey, it's all good, man. I just enjoy talking to you guys.
Likewise,
All right, it was
man.
fun.
All right,
Have
bye.
a great day.
Follow their religion and delete, block, mute, unfriend, delete, block, mute, unfriend. I don't wanna see it. 'Cause I don't wanna see it. I don't.